Okay, so we are back to our regularly scheduled programming, and yeah, it's that time of month. It's all my July dramas that I've been watching. I think I've watched a little bit more this month than regular months. Yeah, so that's kind of exciting. I guess I had time after I came back from Spain to catch up on stuff, so I will be going right into it. And I'm actually going to change the format of this. I used to do it by nationality. Instead, I'm just gonna go by what I'm currently watching, what I have completed, and then what I've dropped. So we are going to go in that order. And yeah, so I will still like distinguish it by Korean dramas, C dramas, whatever, but I just thought it would be best to just like have all my currently watching in one place because that is what's relevant right now. Okay, so first up, I have My Girlfriend is the Man, and I am on episode 3 of 12, and I have this currently rated at a 7.5. And if you guys know, I am a huge Roha. They are my old group, and my baby Zang Hai is in this. And honestly, I didn't even know this was like going to be a thing. I saw it, someone mentioned it, I think in my Discord server or even in the comment section of some of my videos. So of course I'm gonna watch it just for him. And honestly, the drama kind of is interesting because the plot line basically follows this guy whose girlfriend turns into a man. Think the Beauty Inside, except without the faces changing, it just changes into a man, and I guess it's the same man. So our baby Zang Hai, he really loves his girlfriend, and so he doesn't like really want to break up with her, but she's a man, so it kind of like navigates that, and it's a little interesting because it feels a little bit like a BL, but it also isn't, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit worried it's gonna come off as homophobic, and also the concept, it kind of leads to like bisexual, if not pansexual, and I just don't know that Korea would touch upon that, especially for an idol drama because his female co-stars are in from Oh My Girl, and that seems like a very deep topic that I don't think would go into. So I am a little worried about how it's going to go in terms of direction and in terms of like the message it gives about sexuality. And on a side note, it's just a little goofy. I mean, it's really sweet because I do think that like Zang Hai is very endearing and lovey-dovey towards his girlfriend, but like episode 3 today we saw Chu and she's just all up on this man that isn't hers, and he's kind of not really doing anything about it. So just like little moments like this are kind of like annoying in my opinion, and it's just a little too immature and silly for my personal taste. It's not like the worst thing in the world, and I mean Zang Hai, whenever he's on screen, he just like lights up my day. So I will continue to watch just for him. It's gonna be a shorter drama, thank God, because I don't think I could do this drama for forever. For Chinese dramas, I'm currently watching. I actually did start Legend of Zang Hai. I said I was going to on my way to Spain. And so, yeah, on my way back from Spain, I think is actually when I started. So on the plane, I got up to episode 7 of 40. And I currently have this rated a 6 out of 10. And honestly, this feels kind of like a Joy of Life, you know, where it's very male centric and it's pretty plot heavy. Right now, I am not very invested in him, in Zang Hai. And I haven't seen our female lead, who is part of the reason that I'm watching it. Zhang Xingyi is also in it. This got really good reviews right now. It's just not very interesting to me. It's just very political, revenge driven, and I'm honestly more about like characters, relationships, and right now it's just like Solo Joe is like, you know, doing it all. And he's like not supposed to have affection for other people. So it's like the exact opposite direction of what I want it in. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to finish this drama. It's just so not my genre, as you guys know. I mean, the fact that I even got to episode 7 was kind of impressive, and I'd really have to push through. I think once you get into around 20, if I don't like it by then, I'm probably just gonna end up dropping it because I have so many other things to watch that I would rather not keep pushing through this when I don't think it's something that I would enjoy. Not that it's like a bad quality drama, but yeah. And next I have A Dream Within a Dream, and I am on episode 10 of 40, and I have this rated a 7 out of 10. And basically this was on air around the time The Princess Gambit was on air, and between the two I chose to watch The Princess Gambit. This had pretty good reviews, and I feel like this genre I generally tend to like, but for some reason I'm not really feeling it. It's kind of the vibes of the romance between Tiger and Rose, shows where she like enters the novel and she's kind of like this goofball character and he's like a mean guy pretending. Maybe it's because I just don't care much for their dynamic right now. I mean, it is kind of funny that she keeps like insulting him to his face, and yeah, he hasn't quite fallen in love with her yet, which I think makes it a little bit less interesting. And I mean, the main plot point of him being like two characters in the story and her not catching on to that, she's a little too dense for my liking. And I mean, I'm only on episode 10, so maybe it's gonna like increase in terms of enjoyment, because I know that like as the Princess Gambit went on, people started liking it less, but when it came to a dream within a dream, people started liking it more as it got towards the end. I don't really know. I'm actually going to try to finish this because this is one of the very few C-dramas that actually had decent reviews this year, because this year has been really slow for C-dramas. I think I've only finished 5 so far, and it's already, we're done with July, and I was trying to watch more than I did last year, and so it's proving to be a little bit of a challenge. But I did see Legend of the Female General will come out soon, so that is something I'm looking forward to. So hopefully that doesn't disappoint me, because this year has been really disappointing in terms of C-dramas so far. And then next I have Reborn, and I am on episode 11 out of 23, and I have this rated also a 7 out of 10. And so Reborn is really interesting because it was one of my most highly anticipated dramas, but at the part that I'm at, it's just so confusing. This is going to be a spoiler, but basically she's run away from home, which is like pretty intense, and I just think the intensity of their love as high schoolers just makes no sense to me, because she's like running away from home and he's taken her into his own house and he's like housing her and planning on running away with her. And it's just like, you would be willing to do this to one of your like friends from high school, and like again, they're not even like childhood best friends, so it's not like he has this like built up relationship with her. It's just like so sudden from the time that they went from like strangers to like really, really close acquaintances that are like obviously in love and like got this deep connection. Like I don't feel the deep connection. So the entire concept of them being like runaway high school teenagers, like I don't really know. I don't mind when the characters are immature and like they feel very young, because they are young, but I just can't imagine this boy being so in love and obsessed about her that he is like taking her. Well, also like, why is he just living alone? I don't know. Maybe in China, like the culture is a little different, but the fact that he's like living on his own, is able to house her without like with nobody knowing. Like imagine he like just kidnapped her or something and like the rest of the world just doesn't know. Yeah, so that setup is a little weird, and yeah, it's a little disappointing because the mystery is just not giving the vibes that I wanted it to be. I will try to finish this. I've heard some people do say that it does get better, but personally, I wouldn't count on it, but this is one of the ones that I'm like actually going to try to finish. Okay, and the next one is actually very, very new. It's going to be Watashi no Oto to Kekkon shite, which is also Marry My Husband Japanese version, but for some reason on my drama list, they always listed in the Japanese names, which makes it so hard to find. I am on episode 3 of 10, and I have this rated at a 7.5 out of 10. And the main reason that I decided to pick this up is because of this guy. I actually don't even know the actor's name, but he is just very swoony. I've seen a lot of TikToks about it, which is originally what got me to watch it in the first place, because if you know Marry My Husband, the Korean version was one of my worst dramas of last year that I've seen. Like Marry My Husband Japanese version did not entice me, but I thought with him portraying the male lead, I thought it might be a little bit more interesting. And what I've seen according to the comments is they really changed it up from the Korean version, and I think that would make me more inclined to enjoy it, because I didn't enjoy the Korean version. So if they change it up, it means probably they changed it for the better, because it's harder to change it for the worse, because I was just not very interested in the first place. I think I'm a little early in, because I'm only on episode 3 of 10. And honestly, I just haven't seen a lot of Japanese dramas, so I want to like get into them. It's just, yeah, for some reason, they're just not as popular as like K-dramas or C-dramas, or there just aren't as many good ones, especially because a lot of them are rated lower on my drama list. If you know any other Japanese dramas, please do let me know, because I would love to watch them. Like Itazura na Kiss is like one of my top dramas ever, and that's like one of my few Japanese dramas that I've ever seen. Like literally, there are so few Japanese dramas, I could not even make a year video of Japanese dramas, because I just don't usually see them. And so I guess we'll just have to see if this is going to be like a good drama or just kind of like a neutral drama, considering this is originally like a plot that I'm not really interested in and invested in. And I hope it's going to be a little bit more satisfying, because I know the Korean version had me a lot more frustrated than satisfied, which is why I didn't enjoy it as much as I guess the average person did. And next up, I am still watching Revenge Love, and I will probably still be watching Revenge Love up until the end of August because there's a lot of episodes on this thing. This thing actually has 24 episodes, and I'm currently at 16, which is like the episodes for this week. I have this rated at a 7.5 out of 10. And basically, I think the last time I reviewed this, I was like, oh, it's so stupid and fun. I think this drama is way too long, and there's a limit to how corny I can take something, you know? Like, I think if something's gonna be corny and stupid and silly and fun, I think it should be a very short drama because at this point, it's just dragging. Like, nothing's really happening. It's just grown old. Like, the humor of it is just repetitive and it's grown a little old. So the very early beginnings, maybe like episode like 7 to 10, I think that was when it was like peak fun. And I was like, oh my God, this is so goofy and like fun and enjoyable. But right now I feel like they just keep arguing and I'm like, why are you arguing? And there's like no cute, fun moments anymore. So it's a little bit disappointing. Yeah, I mean, as a couple, I think they've got great chemistry. They're fun to watch, but as a story, I feel like nothing's happening and like nothing's changing. The characters don't feel super well developed. I think it still has its like goofy, fun, like this is so bad but so good kind of moments. But right now, I just haven't seen that kind of stuff in a while. I'm just so frustrated. Like, I don't care about your ex. Like, I just want to see you two like develop your relationship and interact. But they seem to keep arguing and like. Yeah, that's like it. So on the other hand, I started another BL, and that is going to be Secret Lovers, and I have completed 3 out of the 12 episodes, and I have this rated a 6.5 out of 10. I saw people raving about this on TikTok, and from the edits, this looks really, really interesting and good. But the only thing is, I think this was developed so like 0 to 100. It just seems very sensationalistic because the opening scene is like a very intense scene, right? And then like everything just happens with no development and like who they are, and things are just going. They're like spoiler, like they're already dating, and it just feels like why is this a big deal? Like, I don't know. Things are just happening, and it's just moving too fast. So it's kind of a shame. I think it's filmed kind of pretty. I don't even think I have affection for the characters. I watched Hwang Jun-hyeo actually in YG Treasure Box, so I was hoping to support him in this role, but I don't really care much for his character. I don't care for the other guy either. So yeah, this is very low on my enjoyment, and I just don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the show because we're at episode 3 and they're already together. So I don't know. It also he just accepted it very, very fast, especially the one that didn't have a crush on him. Hwang Jun-hyeo was the one that didn't really have a crush on him like that. He liked women from what he knows. This is like one of the most illogical things that I'm watching, and I'm not enjoying it as much as everyone on TikTok is for some reason. Okay, so on to the dramas I completed. First up, we'll go through the Korean dramas, and so I finished Spring of Youth, and I rated this a 5.5 out of 10, and that is a very, very low rating. Basically, I just wasn't interested in the entire politics of this drama. Like, it's about this parent who's just made regretful decisions and is trying to cover up his regretful decisions in the past. And then you just got this angry teenage boy coming after you. His relationship with the female lead was like cute to a certain extent. And then he like ran away from her and then he comes back to her. Yeah, this entire drama just felt very inconsequential. The characters, they weren't really giving. I mean, I was really hoping to see more of a bromance between Sung-hyub and the male lead, but they didn't really get that either. The friendships in it, I wasn't invested in. Like, when you make dramas like this, you want to feel like, oh, warm and fuzzy with all their friendships, but I don't care about their friendship. The music was like mid, even though this is obviously like a band drama. There was just nothing good about it, to the point it was very boring and honestly really hard to watch. Like, I think this only has 10 episodes and I was still struggling to finish it. Next up is our movie, and okay, I finally rated this a little higher than the rest, and this is an 8.5 out of 10, and I will say this gives the vibes of a 10 out of 10 drama. I think I loved the entire setup of the drama about how it's the perspective of a terminally ill patient, because usually you kind of get the side of the people that are left behind, especially when a lot of characters, their parents are terminally ill and gone, and you just like get the perspective perspective of those who remain behind. But this one is like, I feel like the first time you really focus on how the patient feels and like how they want to live their life to the fullest. And I really loved the kind of debate between her wanting to live her life to the fullest, which is opposite to the feelings of her loved ones who want her to live longer, even if she's going to be like less happy, I guess, you know, because for her, she wanted to act and it's her passion. And it's honestly so beautiful in a way that she's so passionate about it that she's willing to die for it. And I do believe that is like an emotion that some of us experience in this world. So I think the entire setup of that was super well done. I think it was portrayed so well. The dialogue that they have throughout the story, I think makes you really reflect on life and make you feel like grateful for just like being alive, you know, and being able to change things, being able to pursue things, whereas obviously if you're terminally ill, you don't have that time. And so I think this drama did really well in terms of like acting upon your feelings and not like running away from things. And the one issue I have with this drama, though, is the fact that I still don't think these two have chemistry. I think someone pointed it out in a Discord comment or just YouTube channel comment, and they said that her immature acting was like the reason. And I think that's also how I would pinpoint it as well. Her character feels almost like a child. Like, I can understand faking happiness, but for me, she just felt like a child. Like she was acting like a child rather than like a fake joy that she was like using as a persona to make those around her feel comfortable. I just don't know. It felt really, really off in my opinion. And it felt strange that he fell in love with her. I think I just love the setup so much. It just wasn't executed as well as it could have been, which is such a shame because with what they were going for, I think this could have been a 10 out of 10 drama. But it didn't quite hit the mark. And yeah, Lee Jae-ha, I really like his character, but anytime he was with her, I just was less invested in it, and which is a shame because every other relationship in this drama is really interesting. Like his relationship with his parents, her relationship with her father, her relationship with her best friends, her relationship even with that frenemy from college, you know, these were all very interesting dynamics. And then when they were like being romantic, I was kind of like, this doesn't make any sense to me. This makes me feel uncomfortable. Like there are topics of nepotism and things like that. And all of it were so interesting and refreshing, especially because like we literally see movies like Mellow Movie coming out, you know, and even then this is a completely different take from like Mellow Movie. Although in Mellow Movie, obviously they weren't terminally ill, but very similar industries, but still like very different takes. And this one was, I'd say that this one was way more refreshing in the way that it was done, but the execution unfortunately fell short. I really wish it didn't fall short. I think even the ending felt a little unsatisfactory, and I was very curious to how the movie actually ended, and I still don't really know. I guess we saw the last scene, but it didn't feel so revolutionary because they were also hyping it up when they're just like, oh, if you write an ending like this, I can't do anything about it. And I was like, okay, so what is the ending? And it wasn't like that. Crazy, you know? So yeah. Okay, and to talk about Head Over Heels, I rated this a 7 out of 10. A lot of people were recommending this to me last month, and so I did end up picking it up and obviously finished this month. This also, I would say this concept is really interesting, and at some points I was really liking the direction the plot took, but I was not invested in their characters like whatsoever. Yeah, I think mainly the chemistry would have to be the biggest one because throughout the drama, it's like, it's a lot about they do things because of their love for each other, but I really don't know why they love each other, aside from the fact that she thinks he's cute. Like that's about it. And then she asks him like one question about his personality. And then even the villain just didn't seem very like interesting to me, and all the side characters that are kind of in their friend group also weren't that interesting to me. I would say I really, really loved the best friend in this. He was like one of the most respectful second leads ever, and I love that he didn't let his feelings get in the way of his friendship, and so he was like one of my favorite characters. I love that guy. And yeah, overall this drama I felt like was pretty dull, even though the concept was really refreshing. It still didn't really like tug on my heartstrings, and I think there weren't a lot of like emotional takes and like a larger message I feel like that I got from this drama. I feel like there was also a lot of illogical actions done by the characters, like why he trusted the original evil shaman for so long, and yeah. Next up, for Chinese dramas I've completed, I mentioned that I did finish The Princess Gambit, and I rated this an 8 out of 10. And honestly, this was best in the beginning when they were developing their romance, and I think just as individual characters, they were really interesting. I think that he doesn't really cross the line, in my opinion, because in Chinese dramas, honestly, it's just like, it's the same plotline over and over. It's like a guy who like mistreats the girl and doesn't realize that the girl is actually like kind and good. Like, it's basically The Prisoner of Beauty again, except it is a little bit different. But then it's just, when she loses her memory, that is when everything goes downhill, because they were developing the romance so well and it was interesting, it was good, and then all of a sudden she loses her memory and I'm frustrated out of my mind. They aren't talking to each other, she's not on screen. The ending was done well though, because they like recall to the moments that he was mean to her and he actually feels sorry. I feel like a lot of times they just kind of gloss over the mistreatment, so I did appreciate the ending and that. And yeah, once they got back together, it was all well done. But yeah, honestly, this was very similar to The Prisoner of Beauty is all I can say, and there was nothing like that revolutionary. It started off really strong, but like the amnesia plot is just not it for me, and I just want romance to stay consistent. Is that so hard to ask for? Of course she has to go get amnesia and they just don't interact at all, and she doesn't she eventually remembers him, and he doesn't know that, so like he's still in love with her and does all this stuff, but they like really aren't interacting that much, and there's like hardly, I just want them to interact on screen, and that's what I'm watching all of this for. So yeah, but this is one of the better ones of this year. At least I didn't get like bored to death, and there's nothing that like crazy infuriated me. It's just I got really bored once they stopped talking to each other, but then they came back in the end. So it was a pretty good C-drama to pass my time, but it wasn't super revolutionary, which is what I'm also struggling with these days, because a lot of C-drama plots I've noticed have become very, very same with very similar tropes, very similar characters. So that's kind of not that fun. So hopefully, I think Legend of Female General is one of the more refreshing ones that's coming out. So hopefully that does well. And next I have Our Generation, and I also rated this an 8 out of 10. And basically this drama, I was very curious to where it was supposed to go. Like, I mentioned in my Discord, but I just think as teenagers, it visually just didn't make sense to me personally. I know people say that she is like more reasonable as a teenager than he is, because Zhang He does look a little older, but even for her, like, she was really great in a little thing called First Love. She was really great as a high schooler in that, but she's played so many different roles between then, and I think it's not even just the way she looks visually, it's also just the way she was acting as a like teenager. It just didn't give off that like youthful charm, I guess. She just felt a little bit more mature as a character. And yeah, they spent so long developing this like relationship between them in high school, but we really don't know why she's so like fixated on him. I think once you just accept that she's fixated on him, it's like a little bit more okay, but I really think we should have just moved on into the adulthood, because that part was more interesting. Honestly, episodes 19 and 20 were like 10 out of 10 quality. Once we got to those scenes and that entire development, I was like, oh, this is like really, really good. And in a way, it reminded me of Irazura na Kiss. Honestly, this drama reminded me of a combination of Irazura na Kiss and Go Ahead. So the Irazura na Kiss part is that she's like the silly, happy, bright girl that falls for the cold male lead. And basically, it's just her unwavering love and support, which really is what makes the drama. Like, how do you love someone that deeply? And yeah, it's a very wholesome story of just this one girl's like love and dedication. And it's like, if you won't appreciate it, I will find a man that will. But yeah, they are like so in love with each other, and he treats her really well, which is also very nice, because we get a lot of like really cold, harsh male leads these days, which is not what we want anymore. But the only thing is, this drama was just so choppy, because you develop all the way into 1920. Once 1920 hit, I'm like, okay, this drama, like if it just gets better, but we only had 4 episodes left at that point. Everything felt so rushed. I think everyone knows that like it just didn't make sense. And it's a novel. So in the novel, it's a story from their childhood to adulthood. And I just really think they should have spent way more time on the adulthood, especially that you have adult actors. Like at that point, you might as well have hired teenage actors for the teenage counterparts, but for some reason they didn't. And on the other hand, it also reminded me of Go Ahead, because the guy had a very similar backstory with his mom and like having those family issues. It was actually really identical to Go Ahead. And then there's that also like childhood friendship that carries on into like adulthood aspect. So that was like very Go Ahead in my opinion. Obviously they aren't brother and sister, but they were still very, very close family friends, which made it like pretty much similar in my opinion. But overall, this one was actually, yeah, quite a shame because there's definitely a lot of potential. But again, falls short like everything else in this list. So yeah, but it was pretty enjoyable, this one. Okay, and lastly, this is such a throwback, but I ended up watching Ball Boy Tactics and I rated this a 9 out of 10. And honestly, why was this so good? Like, I did not know about this or hear about it at all while it was airing. And so it finished a couple months back, if I remember correctly. And I think I just got one TikTok about it and one TikTok turned into multiple. And I was like, wait, this is actually pretty good. So then I started it. And yeah, all throughout, it honestly had me like seated. I was like, wait, why is this actually so well done? It was like a very short drama, but it's one of those short dramas that does it well, you know? Like everything was cute. The relationship was good. There's some sweet, swoony moments. They look good together. I love the dynamic. It was all very, very solid. I think the only thing that makes it a little bit weaker is just his background, the main male lead's background. I mean, he's established as this gymnast and it's just kind of forgotten about for the rest of the show. So it's like they establish his, I don't think either one of them actually get a background story and like who they actually are as people. And that's not terrible, but I do think with the duration they had, they could have done a little bit more and a little bit better. Like honestly, his entire identity is like him being this national gymnast, but they don't talk about it. He doesn't talk about it. And like it gets mentioned like once or twice because then the friends are like, oh, you're famous. And I'm like, okay, that's it. Yeah, but other than that, if you focus on the relationship, the dynamics, how the relationship formed after they started getting together, it was all very solid. This was very, very enjoyable. Yeah, one of my favorite things that I've actually seen this year. So Ball Boy Tactics really took me by surprise, which is crazy because I have not been super positive about most things that I talked about. But Ball Boy Tactics, you have my heart. You have won me over. You are very solid. And so with that, that is all the July dramas I have seen. Yeah, I hope that it picks up a little bit more next month. I know Legend of Female General's coming out. I'm actually going to start that family drama with Chung Il-woo, Our Golden Days, and I might actually end up picking that. I think it was originally called Sochodong, but I don't remember what it's called now. It's like Law in the City, maybe. I might start that just because, as you can tell, I'm only watching one Korean drama on air, so I might as well pick that up in my spare time because there's like nothing else for me to watch. As usual, please let me know what dramas you're watching on air, what I should check out. And honestly, if there's anything I missed in 2025, like please tell me your top 2025 dramas because so far I'm a little worried. This year doesn't look like it's going super well. So I honestly just want to watch something good. Yeah. And then I think right now I'm in my mode of like, I have to start finishing up some C-dramas because my C-drama list is like not looking very good with the number of dramas I've seen. And even then it's just, I feel like just not that entertaining. But yeah, so that is all for today. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.